The battle for Hamilton West is on, as you just heard, with Gaurav Sharma's resignation triggering a by-election there. National Party leader Christopher Luxon joins us now for more on this. Good morning.
Good morning, Melissa. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Now, you will have a busy wee time on your hands in Hamilton West. Is a by-election there, though, a waste of money?
Oh, look, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, really, these are decisions for the Prime Minister and for the Labour Party ultimately. And, you know, the thing for us is that we've now going to make our case really strongly to the people of Hamilton West and talk to them about why we think they're going backwards under this government. We're going to fight hard and we'll have a good campaign.
Do you think it's fair on taxpayers that they're going to have to pay, or it could be, you know, $1.2 million for a by-election there?
Well, again, I mean, that's a decision for the Prime Minister and the Labour Party as to whether they could have handled this differently to have avoided this cost that taxpayers will have to pay. All I can do is respond to the situation, and the situation is it looks like we're having a by-election, and as a result, we'll put forward a really strong campaign and make our case to the people of Hamilton West.
Have you already been in touch with candidates?
Look, no, but we've had a series of great candidates emerge across the country ready for 2023, and so I'm really confident over the next few weeks the local electorate there will select a great candidate. But again, the key issue here is the people of Hamilton West are going backwards economically, health-wise, education, housing, and they've been dealing with rapid levels of rising crime. I mean, just in the Waikato, there's been 16 ram raids just last month, and I went and spoke to those employees in that Michael Hill store recently, and you know, to be there at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning in a retail mall and to get ram raided like that, pretty distressing. Former
National MP Tim McIndoe is probably across those issues too. He held the seat for 4 terms. Is there any reason you wouldn't choose him as a candidate in Hamilton West?
Look, again, I'm really confident we'll get a great set of candidates wanting to emerge, or prospective candidates.
Would Tim be among them?
Our process is very democratic. I don't know. Our process is very democratic. It's ultimately left for the local electorate to make that decision. We don't do things like the Labour Party and do them in smoke-filled rooms in Wellington. We believe in democracy and local democracy, and that'll be a decision for the people of Hamilton West and the members and supporters of National and Hamilton West.
Of course, when it comes to the candidates, your vetting process has changed since the saga with Sam Uffindale. Do you know if Tim McIndoe has been through that process? Have you put other people through that process already in Hamilton West?
Again, in Hamilton West, we've gone through nationally across what we call Candidates College. We've got a lot of candidates that will be coming out of that. We'll have others that will emerge as well. Those processes will kick in as their local electorate choose their candidate. But the important thing here is that, you know, really everyone in Hamilton West, as I said, is going backwards. You know, they're doing it tough under inflation. You know, they can't get ahead. You know, as I said, everyone's, you know, just is struggling. Their money doesn't go as far as it once did. We've got a real healthcare system challenge here in this country where it's falling apart. Education's the lowest it's been for a long time. Housing hasn't been solved, and as I said, rising levels of crime. Those are going to be the issues that any candidate in Hamilton West will need to talk to.
On the issue of inflation, we saw yesterday it's gone from 7.3 down to 7.2. In the House, there was criticism from the government that tax cuts for all could potentially make inflation worse, and these were the comments that were directed at you. Take a listen.
Which we know because we've seen a live experiment of what would happen when such proposals are implemented. And, Mr. Speaker, the impact on the economy is, Mr. Speaker, very, very clear. And he's taken no reflection on what happened in the UK when they implemented a very similar program of debt-funded tax cuts.
How do you feel being compared to Liz Truss?
Well, I think they are the words of a very, very desperate Prime Minister, to be brutally honest with you. Inflation is high and worse than expected at 7.2%. It's leading to higher prices, it's leading to higher interest rates, it's causing huge pain and suffering for New Zealanders up and down this country, and it's all because this government doesn't have a proper economic plan to lead New Zealand through a cost of living crisis.
The tax cuts have hurt the UK economy though, right? And Liz Truss's U-turn has been quite embarrassing. Is there a risk you could end up in the same kind of situation?
Look, completely and utterly different situations. Here's the story. The bottom line is that, the UK has very high levels of debt. It has uncapped amounts of stimulus, and it had a wholesale change to its tax program and agenda. That's a completely different situation from what's being proposed here. We have a government here in New Zealand that's spending $1 billion more each and every week. It's actually raising a huge amount of extra tax, almost the equivalent of $15,000 per household in New Zealand. This is a government that actually could, if it was responsible, if it knew how to run an economy, deliver people some income tax relief. The best way to do that is not rinky-dink band-aid cost of living payments. It's to adopt our main thrust, which is to lift inflation adjust tax thresholds, so that people keep more of their own money to keep managing, to navigate the cost of living crisis. And the other thing is they could deliver that tax relief and also deliver better public services, because in the space of public services, despite all that spending, everything's going backwards.
We're speaking with Chris Hipkins a little later on. He spoke yesterday about he was asked about a Royal Commission of Inquiry into COVID, and he said, well, they have been carried out for smaller things. Is the timing of an inquiry important to you?
Oh, look, I just think it's important. We've been calling for it for a long time now, for over a year, and the reason's very simple. There are some things that we probably did well, there are things that we didn't do well, but we need to understand, did we get the health response right? Did we order enough vaccines? Did we make rapid antigen tests available? Did we get enough antivirals? What do we do about upskilling our ICU beds? But the other part of it is obviously the economic response as well. Did the Reserve Bank spray around way too much cash for way too long and actually contribute to making the cost of living crisis even worse? Those are the kind of questions that you're better to park off and have a proper comprehensive review so that New Zealand learns from this experience.
Do you think you're going to get those answers before the election?
Well, I just want to get them as fast as we possibly can. I mean, we've been talking about it now for a year. I think, we're well through COVID. Now's as good a time as any to start the learning and to start the review.
The New Zealand First conference was held at the weekend. Winston Peters, would you work with him?
Oh, look, as I've said to you and to others along the way, is we're not interested in any electoral calculations or discussion about coalition arrangements.
Said you would.
Yeah, my job is to focus on the National Party and to make sure that we are taking it forward quarter by quarter, making our case to the New Zealand people, building back trust with them so they actually can see that we are a viable alternative government come 2023.
Okay,
and let's be clear, most New Zealanders think the country's heading in the wrong direction, and if you want to change it, vote 2 ticks National in 2023.
Okay, so Nicola Willis said National will be happy to work with Winston Peters, but you're not so keen to go that far today?
I'm just not ruling anyone in or out. It's just the wrong time. We're too far out from an election, in my view. The answer is that we, are actually going to focus on what we can do in the National Party. You'll see that as we go to the Hamilton West by-election.
National Party leader Christopher Luxon, thanks for your time this morning.